Some signs of improvement today across northwest Florida. Look at this rainbow from just a little while ago. This is back up near Southport. Some signs of sunshine. Of course, that also does mean that there are some indications of some rain. We've seen some very heavy rainfall, in particular just off to the generally to the west of Youngstown. Thankfully, this thunderstorm activity beginning to wane, at least for the time being. Nice little outflow boundary coming out. We'll have to watch that to see if we see any more development along that. But again, some of the rainfall extremely heavy just off to the west of Youngstown, as much as 7 inches of rainfall, thankfully in just a very small area. Overnight tonight, temperatures will drop into the 70s. Details on the rest of your forecast, that's in 10 minutes. But the news starts right now.
Some northern Bay County residents say flooding from this weekend's rains is the worst they've seen in decades. You'll see what they're battling.
Also, 3 local counties had to delay the first day of school today because of washed out roads. You'll get the latest on repairs and when students will report to class.
I'm Mike Massalinda on Florida's Gulf Coast, where homeowners across Florida are facing big increases in their flood insurance. I'll tell you why and how much.
From WJHG, coverage you can count on. This is News Channel 7 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nisa Wilkins.
And I'm Tom Lewis. Welcome to News Channel 7 at 6 o'clock. Some residents in the Deer Point Lake area woke up this morning to knee-high floodwaters. County officials say they've had the dam's drawdown gates open since early last week. But as News Channel 7's Sonica Donge tells us, Bear Creek residents say this is the worst flooding they've seen in more than 30 years.
Homeowners by Bear Creek are sharing the road with ducks.
It's not been this bad. This is the worst. We've seen it like this in probably 78, 79, somewhere around there, but it's only got up to the tree there. It started rising last night, and about 3:15 this morning, it was about half of the road here, and 5:15 this morning, it's all the way across the yard.
The heavy rainfall and standing water has destroyed everything at ground level and is now threatening homes.
Right now, water levels are just above your ankles, but residents are saying water levels have been rising ever since this morning, and they suspect they'll continue to rise.
You know, we're kind of shut down right now. We can't use plumbing, we can't use air conditioning, and the water's still rising.
Flooding's not a scary issue, but when you're in knee-high waters, it can be.
Besides ducks, residents are seeing predatory animals.
The black moccasins will, yeah. And the gators. You just keep your eye out and you'll be all right.
And that could be a problem Tuesday.
I have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, 7, 6, and 5 pretty much. And they're all getting ready to attend Teeny Bozeman School. And tomorrow's gonna be their first day. And as you can see, we're gonna have to swim to the bus stop in knee-high grass and snake-infested water right now.
In Bay County, Sonica Donge, News Channel 7.
The residents say this is much worse than the flooding that took place on July the 4th. Washington County has gotten pounded again. This is the Wayside Park at Blue Lake, right on the east side of Highway 77, just south of the Interstate 10 interchange in Chipley. Now, those trees normally sit on the lake's edge that you see there in the background. As you can see, the park is completely covered with water. The water is over the lanes of Highway 77. In fact, authorities had to shut down part of Highway 77 today because of the flooding. Floodwaters isolated the Blue Lake Community Center, which you're about to see in just a moment. No words if there was any damage to that particular building there right by the side of the lake.
Washington County students were supposed to start school today. School officials are now aiming for Wednesday, hoping the county can repair the road enough so buses can pass. But as News Channel 7's Bergen Bonkum tells us, that's going to be a challenge.
It's a 1-2 punch Washington County hoped to dodge. Just as the area was recovering from a record 200-year flooding event in July, more rain came this weekend.
Temporary repairs have been undone. Nothing has held. The heavy rain, the fact that it moved slowly through, it was just more. The influx was just more than we could handle. We had water over roads, highways, everything. It was a very, very dangerous situation.
And roadway danger is still a major issue.
If there's not a barricade or a road sign, they don't need to assume that the road is safe. All of our barricades and signs are in use. They're in use throughout the county, and we're continuing to need to close roads.
President Obama just approved federal disaster funding for the July damages. Now, county officials are declaring another state of emergency.
Right now, we are not declared for any FEMA assistance to homeowners. But if you're the homeowner and you are the resident of the home, we need to hear from you if you've had any flooding, any water standing inside the home.
A long-term recovery group set up in the county and is trying to provide assistance. In Washington County, Bergen Balcom, News Channel 7.
Washington County schools are closed tomorrow. Jackson and Holmes County school officials plan to be open. Bay District schools will open for the first day of classes tomorrow as planned, with one exception. This weekend's rain caused a lot of flooding at Hutchinson Beach Elementary. Parents and faculty made their way to the school Sunday afternoon to try and save some of the equipment. 4 classrooms and the media center suffered carpet damage, and that's being replaced. Crews have been working around the clock to get the school ready.
What we found out was the holding pond backed up from the city drainage, and it was just a mess out there. They got a lot of rain in a very short period of time, and the teachers are gung-ho, they're strong, and they're going to be ready Thursday.
Okay. Beach Elementary also suffered flooding damages after the 4th of July rains. School district officials hope to begin classes, as he said, this Thursday. Walton County schools were open this afternoon, but officials were anticipating possible bus delays during the afternoon drop-off. Severe road damage occurred over the weekend on Scenic 30A in the area of Big Red Fish Lake. 1/3 of the road east of Blue Mountain Road is now eroded. The piping under the ground that regulates the flow of water on both sides of the road failed, causing it to wash away. Water is approximately 15 feet deep and 40 feet wide. County crews are out using sandbags to help stop the flow of water.
Well, having seen all that flooding footage, here's some great news. The cost of flood insurance on second homes in Florida is about to get a lot more expensive. Rates are scheduled to rise at least 25% a year until the true cost of insurance is being charged, according to the experts. But as Mike Vasalinda tells us, the hike is having ripple effects.
The cost of flood insurance for one of these nearly identical beach houses is about to go up, while it'll stay the same on the other. Congress mandated the hike for second homes, but not for primary homeowners. Letters like this one are being sent to more than 270,000 owners of second homes in Florida. It says their flood insurance will go up by 25%. Sam Rogers Jr. is the incoming president of the Florida Association of Insurance Agents.
It is not well known. It's not effective until October 1st, so it's just now starting to come out in notices related to insurance.
Flood insurance is required by lenders.
About 5 miles every other day.
Keith Phelps ditched his policy once his mortgage was paid off.
No, I don't have it.
Why?
You don't need it if you do not have a loan.
Policyholders who are late making a payment or who cancel their policy and then try and get it back are in for a surprise. They'll have to pay full price, and that's going to be more than the 25% increase going into effect now. The hike was necessary to reach a deal in Washington. Without it, it's likely the program would have died in a political standoff.
And it's a big ticket item. Flood insurance is a large part of anybody who's on a river or on the beach's insurance cost.
The hike also has developers and realtors worried. Increasing the cost of flood insurance will make second homes that much more expensive. In Tallahassee, Mike Vasalinda, News Channel 7.
Well, legislation has cleared the U.S. House to delay the October hikes. There's no word on when or if the Senate will take up that issue.
A number of former employees showed up at the Oasis resort management offices today looking for their overdue paychecks.
You'll find out what they received and how they feel about the entire situation.
Obviously, flooding is still a concern here across the Panhandle, including back up on Blue Lake up there in Washington County. You can see the flooding that's occurring at my house. I had over 12 1/3 inches of rainfall. Some places, like Miss Lois, saw 12 1/2 inches. Dora and Seacrest about 12 1/2 inches. I'm happy to say, less rainfall in the forecast. The details next.
You're watching News Channel 7 at 6 with Tom Lewis, Nisa Wilkins, Viper 7 weather with certified meteorologist Chris Smith, and sports with Scott Rossman. From the Viper 7 Weather Center, here is certified meteorologist Chris Smith.
Well, flooding is obviously a concern on our area rivers. Now, over the next several days, rivers will continue to rise. If you're up near Mariana, to 17.4 feet on Wednesday. Caryville, about 14.3 feet on Thursday. The Choctawhatchee River over in Ebro, there at 16 feet on Friday. Blountstown, a little under 20 feet on Thursday. And the Chipola River in Alta, you are now falling from 23.1 feet. The good news is if we don't see additional rainfall, we should be able to, relatively speaking, handle those current levels without seeing significant issues across our area. Temperatures right now currently into the 80s. Some of us getting rain cooled this afternoon with a scattering of those showers and thunderstorms. So we take a live look right now over downtown Panama City. You can still see kind of the dark skies there above with the thunderstorm that's raining its way out across northern Bay County. You see that on our live Viper 7 Doppler radar. Nowhere near as intense as what it was an hour ago, but you see the thunderstorm activity now beginning to die down. We have a nice outflow boundary there moving across the bay, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. This is a little mini cold front, basically, and possibly could lift up the atmosphere, get a couple more showers and thunderstorms popping up across western Bay County, maybe eventually into southern Walton County. But again, we'll kind of watch that. My friends down there near the Indian Pass Raw Bar, you are getting a nice little shower there just off to the west side of Apalachicola this afternoon. Now, the good news is over the next hour, I think we'll see this shower and thunderstorm activity continue to wane. Now, the problem is anything that pops up for the most part isn't moving a whole lot, so that could, again, cause maybe some additional problems. Now, over the next several days, I think tomorrow is going to be our wettest day this week. We'll see a good southeasterly flow. That usually leads to a pretty good sea breeze, shower and thunderstorm front moving across our area. Then by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think most of the activity begins to shift a little bit farther inland, and we'll begin to get kind of that typical summertime 30 to 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Most of that going to be away from the coastline. Overnight lows tonight, your forecast. If you live in Mariana, 72 degrees, 72 Bluntstown, and 70 degrees in Crestview. High temperatures tomorrow. Because I think we'll see a little bit more shower and thunderstorm activity, we may be stuck in the upper 80s, maybe not quite 90 degrees. Meanwhile, the beaches, you'll get, if you see the rainfall, I think it's going to be the first probably half of the day. Then by the afternoon hours, I think most of that activity begins to shift a little bit farther inland, say by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The beaches, red flags, double red flags actually switched over to Bay County. So right now the water's actually closed in Bay County, although I do expect to see some improvements tomorrow. So we may be able to back it down to possibly yellow flags or maybe red flags. So again, please be careful. Southeasterly flow, again, that leads to a good bit of showers and thunderstorms. So just kind of keep that in mind. The tropics, after all that activity last week, are now quiet. Your Viper 7-day forecast, rain chance is going to increase tomorrow, but then right around summertime levels the rest of the week, and most of the storms away from the beaches.
We could use a few quiet days.
Yes, we certainly
can.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, the state has decided against fining the Bay County Animal Shelter.
You'll find out why that possibility existed and what's happened to the offending employee.
Find us on Facebook. Search for WJHG and click like. Coverage you can count on. This is News Channel 7 at 6.
Some former Oasis Resorts employees are accusing the company of shorting them hundreds of dollars in pay. Some of them showed up at the corporate office today demanding their money. But as News Channel 7's Cameron Taylor tells us, most don't believe they'll be receiving it.
A group of former Oasis Resorts employees hoping to get back pay walked into the corporate office Monday demanding that they be paid in full. They received some money, but not everything they're owed.
My checks were between $1,200 and $1,400. This check's $300.
Instead, some were given a letter stating they would receive the other portion of their paycheck for reimbursements via mail upon release and availability of funds at Doral Bank. But there were strings attached before they got a paycheck Monday. Former Oasis employees tell us they were given this confidentiality agreement to sign before they got their paycheck. The form says employees agreed that they have returned all company assets, but others who did receive their full paycheck feel a sense of guilt about the whole thing.
I feel as though I'm taking money that doesn't belong to me, you know? There's owners, there's tourists that this belongs to. And I just, you know, I feel guilty on one hand, but on the other hand, I feel like, okay, so my kids are going to eat this week.
Others are moving on.
I'm just glad to be done with it. Glad to, I was tired of worrying if I was even going to get this because, you know, school's starting, everybody's got bills. That's why you work for a living.
I mean, if I hadn't found a job so quick, I don't know how I would feed my kid. I don't know how I would pay rent. I don't know how to pay my car payment. They didn't give any kind of warning, nothing.
The employees say Oasis management told them they'd eventually get all of their pay when the bank releases all of their funds, but that's not a guarantee. In Panama City Beach, Cameron Taylor, News Channel 7.
We did call Oasis managing member Thomas Dugan for comment, but he did not return our calls.
State investigators say the Bay County Animal Shelter will not be sanctioned for actions of a former employee. The investigation found the employee falsified reports that track barbiturate quantities used in euthanasias. When shelter management discovered the problem, they fired the employee but did not press any criminal charges. Instead of fining the county, Florida Department of Health issued a letter of guidance. The county is increasing spending at the shelter by about 30% next year to add employees and increase oversight.
Jimbo Fisher talks about naming a starting quarterback. Scott has more on that in a minute.
Now we'll hear from a recent Panhandle transplant who's now $500,000 richer thanks to his big win Sunday in Louisiana.
Now, News Channel 7 Sports with Scott Rossman.
We start tonight with college football, and it appears as if Jimbo Fisher is getting closer to deciding who the starting quarterback for the Seminoles is going to be, at least going into that first game at Pitt. Coach Fisher says he'll continue to evaluate Jameis Winston there on the right and Jacob Coker on the left for 3 more days through the team's Wednesday scrimmage. And after the play in that scrimmage has been broken down and studied, Jimbo says he'll decide who it will be taking the snaps to start the game against the Panthers 2 weeks from tonight. After an impressive showing in spring, most FSU fans believed Winston would win the job. Fisher, though, throughout the offseason and into fall camp has maintained it's been a 2-man battle, and both, he says, have played well so far this August. They've shared equally the number of first-team snaps, and Fisher says they're helping each other, adding, quote, when one comes off and makes a play, they're high-fiving each other. But at the same time, he's running back on the field trying to make a play to top him. So it's pushing both levels of play up, unquote. Guests will know Wednesday or Thursday. On to fishing, and it's no doubt going to be quite the nice ride home for the Tharp family as they eventually head back to their recently adopted hometown of Port St. Joe. They'll be coming back from Louisiana later in the week following a very successful business trip for Randall Tharp there. Tharp, who about a month ago moved his home and family from Gardendale, Alabama to Port St. Joe, winning $500,000 this weekend when he won the Forest Wood Cup on the Red River outside Shreveport. Tharp led after the first 2 days of weigh-ins, fell to second on Saturday, then yesterday hauled in 5 bass totaling 14 pounds, taking his 4-day total to 53 pounds 2 ounces. Turned out to be exactly 4 pounds ahead of reigning Forest Wood Cup champ Jacob Wheeler of Indianapolis, who caught 5 bass, weighing 14.3 for a 4-day total, 49.2. That was second place. Randall's wife Sarah on hand to help celebrate that big payday. A few hours ago, I spoke to Tharp about what a difference those 4 pounds made.
It's quite a big difference as far as money goes. You know, first place in this event was $500,000, and second place was $75,000. So that's quite a big jump. I mean, I would have been disappointed to come up short again. You know, it's been a whirlwind. I mean, I haven't had much sleep the last week. I've been running on 3 or 4 hours throughout the tournament, and now, you know, still going with not much sleep. But you know, I don't think I could sleep if I tried to. I mean, I'm pretty jacked up still. I guess the adrenaline's still flowing a little bit. You know, I caught a couple big fish yesterday, and ever since then, everything's been all right.
Randall and his family will head back home late in the week. They're still in the process of moving into their new house in St. Joe. No doubt this makes all that much more tolerable. Quick note from baseball, Marion alum and current Chipola pitcher Michael Mader committing to the Florida State baseball program today. So Michael will head to Tallahassee after this upcoming JUCO season. As a freshman, the 6'2", 185-pound lefty was one of the leaders of that Chipola staff last year with an 8-3 mark, a 3.19 earned run average, and 76 strikeouts in 93 innings pitched. On to the fishing game forecast. Expected to be a very active day indeed. 3 peaks into the excellent range. In fact, around 1:40 in the morning, just before 3 p.m. and 8 o'clock Tuesday night. Much of the day in the good to excellent range, though. So get out there and catch some bass if you feel like it. Might win $500,000.
Who knows, right? Thanks, Scott. Chris back with another look at that forecast.
Well, join us again at 10. The state is giving a huge financial boost to a new facility that's part of Port Panama City's system. You'll get the details.
And Hobart Field personnel remembering one of their fellow airmen killed on this day a few years back in Afghanistan. We'll have these stories and more coming up tonight at 10.
You know, it's nice to walk outside and not have to carry the umbrella.
Yeah, so at least some of us got that joy today. Some of us still did not, but we're going to gradually make some improvement. Right now, the showers and thunderstorms beginning to wane across our area. So that is some pretty good news there as far as the showers and thunderstorms are concerned here over northwest Florida. We zoom in on our live Viper 7 Doppler radar. You see those showers over Bay County. There you see them beginning to kind of fizzle out. So that's, again, some good news. Your forecast overnight tonight, lows will drop into the 70s. Tomorrow back up into the 80s. I think a little bit better chance of rainfall tomorrow with a robust sea breeze front, but generally inland showers and thunderstorms and quieter for the week.
All I know was the first blue sky and sunshine I saw in about a week. So, thanks,
nice.
Chris. Thanks for having us in for news.
We'll see you tonight at 10. Have a great night.